Hey guys, Tammy here. And in this video, I'm going to talk about when in doubt, don't respond. Okay. So there is only one way to stop negative interaction with a narcissistic person, particularly a narcissistic co-parent. Anybody want to guess what that way is? I just told you. When in doubt, don't respond. That really is the cardinal rule. Now, there's one caveat to this, which is if you're under a court order to respond, you always have to follow the court order. Court order trumps Tammy's advice. Okay, that's what is the most important thing to remember. Court order always trumps Tammy or anybody else's advice for that matter. Because if you are under an order to respond, you had better respond. Before I dive a little deeper on this topic, let me just remind you, if you are watching me on YouTube, please hit subscribe on my channel so that you get notified as new videos are released. And if you like the content and find it helpful, don't forget to hit like on this video. And as always, please share on social media. So many people need this help. And, the mass of people needing help is really overwhelming to me many, many days. And so please share. You never know, who in your friends or followers or whatever are going through things. A lot of times when this stuff starts behind closed doors, people are going through things and we don't even know it. And so you might share something that has an impact on somebody else, even if you don't necessarily recognize it at the time. When I talk to people about not responding, it's kind of amazing because immediately when you read the question or the message from them or whatever, almost our immediate reaction is to argue with what's in there. Okay, that's the filter that we use. We kind of look for what are the incorrect things in here and what do I need to respond to? And I really want to help you try to adjust how you're coming at it. Okay, so instead of coming at it and looking at it from the perspective of what do I need to say or how do I need to answer this or respond or counter it or whatever words you want to use, I want you to start coming at it with this. Is there a question? If there's a question, then there's something that you need to answer. If there isn't a question and everything is a statement, then it's one of two things. It's either information that you need that they're giving you, or it's an attack. It's usually one of those two things. Sometimes it can be their opinion about something. That could be too. But most of the time, it's either information you need or an attack or information you need laced with an attack, right? That's the other way that it usually comes. So one of those things. If there's no question there, I'm amazed at how many times people feel the need to respond. And I'll have people that say, stop responding. And they go, okay. And then they send me their updated thread or give me access to their messaging or whatever it is. And I go in and I'm like, you're responding. And they're like, well, no, but I'm not. I'm like being nice and I'm doing this. And it's like, no, don't respond means don't respond. It means don't be nice either. See, part of what you have to realize is that when I'm telling you not to respond, the problem is that any level of engagement with this person is going to invite engagement back. And that engagement back is always negative for you. It's always negative. They're never going to come back and say, oh, you did a great job, Tammy. That's not going to happen with a narcissistic person. My ex-husband is never going to write me a note, tell me what a great mom I am. That doesn't happen. Okay. So you have to know that any response is going to invite that. So when you start looking at it as, is there a question? Okay. Is there a question? If there's no question and I'm under court order to respond, then I'm just going to say received. That's it. Just so you know that I got your message and I'm not, because how can they argue with received? Like, even if you said, thank you, let's just take thank you, because I think that's kind of a more normal response that we might give if we weren't really going to engage in a lengthy response about it. We might just say thank you. But, depending again on the type of narcissist they are and how deep it runs, they might come back and say, well, you're very welcome. One more thing to just kind of poke at you where you can be like, ugh. But received, you can't really, like, what are they going to say to that? There's just not really anything to say. And that's the beauty of that response. And if you're under court order to respond, that meets that court order. You're responding. You said you received it. Okay, now if there's a question, and when I say this, I'm also careful because when I say if there's a question, I don't mean a question like, what are you, stupid? Because I see that type of question a lot. And that's not what I'm talking about. I mean an actual logistical question like, can I pick the kids up 30 minutes early? The answer to that, in your response has to be the same type of straightforward answer. So an answer to, can I pick the kids up 30 minutes early is not, you always do this, you always change the schedule, you blah, 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 blah. It's not that. It's either, yes, that's fine, or I'm sorry, I can't make that work. I have an appointment, and then what I could make work, right? That's really the key things. And then, you're not being mean, but you're not being overly nice either. Because I have people that kind of lean that direction too. They'll be like, oh, wow, that was so great that you took the boys to do this thing. And, I'm sure they had a great time. But don't say all that. Oversharing is also a road to conflict. Sometimes people think when the court says cooperate that they need to share pictures of an outing or they need to tell about what a great weekend the child had or what. Don't do that. That invites more conflict. Generally, that person, the other parent doesn't want to see that, doesn't want to know, doesn't want to, is ticked off about whatever's happening on your time, in my experience, especially a narcissistic person, because they only care about themselves. They don't really care a lot of times. It's not about whether the child had a good time or didn't with you. It's about, if you're out parenting them or you're making them feel inferior or whatever, that's where their response is coming from, not from what's best for the child. Okay. So when I say don't respond to certain things, again, you have to kind of learn that balance of we're not being overly nice. We're not being rude. We're responding when things require a response or some kind of logistical coordination. But where things don't require a response or we don't absolutely have to communicate it, the best thing to do is to just not respond. That's the only way that you can disengage with a narcissistic person. Any response invites retaliation with them. And so the only way to stop it is to not respond. I hope this reminder has been helpful. If you guys would like to learn more about my coaching services, you can go to divorceuniversityonline.com/VIP-coaching. There's a link on that page where you can book a time to speak to a member of my staff and learn more about my coaching services and how I might be able to support you on this journey. See you guys next time.